Welcome learners to in this video we will learn how to write a research paper, plus I will share some easy steps to write research paper. So welcome to Murad Academy, the place where people come to learn. If you haven't subscribed my channel yet, then please subscribe it and press on bell icon to get notifications of my latest video. So I was telling you that in this video I am about to tell you how you can write research paper effectively, and I will share some easy steps and tips to help you to learn how to write a research paper. So without wasting any further time, let's start this informative video. The first step is make a work plan. Yes, when you are doing your research, whether you are doing your thesis or you are doing your research paper work or you are writing your research proposal, work plan is very important. Okay, you make work plan whether you're writing research paper, thesis or research proposal. So work plan is necessary, it's must. So how we make a work plan, let's discuss. In work plan, number 1, you need a research activity. Number 2, you need a duration in which you have to complete that particular research activity. First I will tell you the research activities which are most commonly used in research, then I will tell you about the duration of each research activity. So let's start. First research activity is reading papers, searching papers. Then you select topic selection is your second research activity. Then in writing introduction of your research paper. Then writing literature review of your research paper. Then writing effective methodology for your research paper work. Then comes the data collection. Then comes your results, and then comes your discussion. Then comes referencing, and then comes the first draft of your paper, which is a rough draft. Then you, after completing your draft work or your corrections and rechecking, you go for journal publication. So now I will come to duration. So before paper searching and reading, give at least 1 week. Okay, in simple words, you have to complete your paper reading and paper searching in 1 week, or it can be less than 1 week, 3 days as well. It's totally on you. I am just giving you an example. Then for topic section, give another 1 week. Okay, it's very important process and step of topic section. Then you start writing your introduction, give it 1 week as well, or according to your requirement. Then same goes for your literature review. Then 2 weeks for your methodology, as it's a very important part of your research paper. Then comes the data collection. You can give 1 week or more than 2 weeks to collect data. Then comes your results. After your data collection, you will do your results by running them on SPSS or any data analysis software. So give them 1 week as well. Then writing a discussion and referencing, give 1 week each as well. Then for your first draft, give 1 week as well. So now we'll move to second step, which is find impact factor journal. So first I will tell you journal selection criteria for your research paper. Number 1, it should be related to your majors. For example, if you are finance student, then your journal should be and will be related to finance. If you are marketing student, okay, if your major is marketing, then you will select a journal related to marketing. If you are management student, then you will select a impact factor journal related to your management field. Okay, same goes for other field as well. Point number 2, impact factor journals. Yes, very important. Always read papers from impact factor journals if you are writing your research paper and if you want to publish it in the future. Why? The reason is why I'm saying this, because you will find quality papers from impact factor journals only. Whether its impact factor is 0.18 or its impact factor is 23, you can select any one of them. Remember that the high impact factor journal has a higher quality of papers. So point number 3, that particular journal should be indexed in Web of Science. How you will know that it's indexed or not? Go simple to Creative Analytics website or Web of Science. Simply log in with your Google for free and search the impact factor journals from there. Next, be careful. You have to be extra careful that there are many fake journals out there, so you have to be extra careful that you don't get your such paper published in those fake journals. How you will find fake journals? Go to Web of Science, best website. Next point, how to find impact factors. Number 1, from Comparative Analytics website. Number 2, Web of Science. And now step number 3, find research topic. So after your 2 steps are cleared, now we will move to step 3, finding research topic. Very important question. How you will find a research topic? Let's see. First, the topic which you will select should be according to your area of interest, and your area of interest should be a broad one, not a narrow or small area. Okay, you have to select a broad area of interest from where you can easily select your research topic. Then point number 2, your topic should be interesting, as you have to publish it in the particular journal. So make sure that the topic is interesting so that it gets easily published in that particular impact factor journal. Point number 3, topic should be latest. Your base paper should be of last 2 to 3 years maximum. Next is the topic which you are selecting, the base paper you are selecting its scope should be high. Point number 4, keep that in mind that the topic which you will select has data is available on it easily or not. Okay. Next, step 4, find research gap. How you will find research gap? Number 1, you can find you can find your gap from your base paper by reading research implications, by reading future research suggestions. Okay, and research limitations of that particular paper. So by these 3 ways you can find your research gap easily. Next point is read research model, very simple. Then read research methodology, read results of that particular article, read discussion, what that particular research paper has discussed. Then read the conclusion, what the study has concluded, so you can continue at study and continue it further from there, where that particular article or author has finished his research. Next is read research limitations, as I told you, read future research suggestions. Next is step number 5, write problem statement, very important. It should be based on your research problem or your research gap which you identified in your previous step. Then comes your problem statement, what things your problem statement should include. Okay, so problem statement includes the following things. Number 1, it should be based on your vision, it should be based on your issue or your problem statement. It should be based on your issue problem statement, then it should be based on your methods. Then it should answer 5 W's, which are who is the research for, what is the research, when you will conduct the research, where you will conduct the research, and why are you doing your research. So your problem statement should be able to answer all these 5 W's or should cover all these 5 W's. So learners, now I will give you examples of 5 W's. Number 1, who is affected by the problem. Okay, these all 5 W's should be related to your research problem. So I will give you clear examples which will clear you more about the 5 W's related to research problem. So first is who is affected by the problem. Second is what will be the outcome in case problem is not solved. Third is when the problem will be fixed. Number 4 is where the problem will be fixed. Number 5 is why it's important to solve the problem. So when you are writing your research problem, you have to answer these 5 W's, or I should say answer these 5 questions. So let's move to our step number 6, which is write research questions. Your research questions are based on your research problem, as we discussed what is research problem in previous step. Next, research questions. What are research questions? Research questions are something you want to study, something you want to answer in your research. It consists of following features. Number 1, specific to particular problem. Okay, it should be specific, it should not be long or lengthy. Okay, your research questions. So this should be directly related to your particular research problem. Then it should define your problem in detail. Then it should make sure what you want to know about the problem. Okay, then you should focus on what you want to know about your research problem. Then it should specific problem into question. Then it should make sure such question is answerable. Make sure such question is not broad or too narrow. Then such questions examples. Number 1, what is the impact of HRM practices on employee performance? This is the easiest example of a such question. Next we have is research objectives. They are based on your research questions which we discussed in previous step. So next is briefly show the research questions briefly shows what research is trying to achieve. In simple words, they should be specific, clear, achievable, measurable, and so your research questions should cover these 4 points. It should be specific to your research questions, should be clear about your research problem, should be achievable, okay, and your research objectives should be measurable in your research. Next is research objective example. Example is to know impact of HRM practices on employee performance, or you can also write like this: to explore impact of HRM practices on employee performance, or you can also write in this way: to investigate impact of HRM practices on employee performance. So now we will move to our step 8, which is introduction. It is the overview of your study, okay. Number 2, it's the background of your topic. It's the background of your variables. So best tip is read at least 5 to 6 research papers, okay, or I should say read at least 5 to 6 research papers introduction, and then start writing your introduction part. Next is research gap. Yes, introduction contains your research gap. Research gap is the area where you have identified the problems from the previous literature or previous research. Next is problem statement. Next part of introduction is research objectives. Next element is research questions. Next is research significance, where you tell the importance of your variables and of your research to government, to managers, to organizations, to research academics, to research students. Next is research scope. It covers the parameters of your variables. Then comes your thesis statement, which is also known as the purpose of your study. So moving to our step number 9, which is literature review. It should be related to your research questions. Number 2, it should be survey of academic sources, which are: number 1, collecting from different research papers, evaluating, then analyzing what you have collected and evaluated. After analyzing, you can write your literature review. So literature review provides you overview of your variables, which are dependent, independent, moderator or mediator. It gives you relevant theories related to your variables. It gives you methods related to your variables, and it provides you research gaps related to your variables. Moving to our next literature review format. You can write 3 to 4 variable definitions. So when you are starting your literature review, you can start from your dependent variable, or you can start from your independent variable. Okay, let's suppose you are starting from your dependent variable. Then what you have to do is write at least 3 to 4 definitions of that particular variable. Same goes for your independent variables. If you have more than three independent variables, then you have to write 3 to 4 variable definitions of each variable. Okay. Next is add literature from developed countries and undeveloped countries. Best way is first take literature from a developed country, find a study which is conducted in a developing country, then find an article which is which is conducted in developed country, and then find article which has studied undeveloped states. So next is first write a general literature. At least take 2 pages are enough for your literature, for your general literature review. Then start from your dependent variable, there is no issue. You can also start from your independent variable. Add in-text citations. In-text citations comes at the start of your paragraph, like this example, last name, year. Like Khan is the last name and year, it is 2015. Then end of paragraph. Your in-text citation also comes at end of paragraph like this, last name, bracket, last name, year, bracket close. At the start of the paragraph, you write last name, comma, bracket, year, and comma. Okay. But in end of paragraph, when you write in-text citation, then there is bracket, last name, comma, year, and bracket close. Like this, bracket Khan, comma, 2015 is an example of in-text citation. I hope it's clear to you. Let's move ahead. Then give full references related to that in-text citations at the end of your search paper under your references heading. Okay. Next is the variables. Number 1, independent variable comes in your search paper. In independent variables, a variable which does not depend on any other factor or variable. Then second variable, let me give example of independent variable is father, microeconomics factors, and management practices. So these are prime examples of your independent variable. Then comes your dependent variable. It's a variable or a factor which depends on other variables or factors, or it depends on other variable what it does. Okay, let's take example, children performance, employee performance. Okay, these are the dependent variables example. Next is moderator. It's a variable which modifies, which enhances the relationship between your independent and dependent variable. Let's see the example of exams. Yes, when you are studying, okay, then your exam plays a part of your moderator. Then comes mediator. It explains relationship between dependent and independent variable. For example, home delivery, middleman. Okay, these are the examples of your mediator. Next is step 10 search model. There are 2 types of model. Number 1 is conceptual framework, which is based on concepts related to your variable. Then it's based on hypothesis testing, and it's based on causal effect relationship. Then second is your theoretical framework. Okay, theoretical framework is based on your theory which is related to your variable. Okay, then you identify your key concepts which are your variables related to your theory. Then you define your variables which are your concepts. Then evaluate theories, concept, and models. So what your it also shows what your research will contribute. So so in research model there are 2 models. You can select any one of them which suits you. As I told you, conceptual framework, you give concepts related to your variables, you do hypothesis testing of your hypothesis statements, and you do cause effect relationship of your independent and dependent variable. But in theoretical framework, it relates to your theory, which theory you have selected, which relates to your variable. This theory identifies your key concepts of your key variables. Then it defines your key concepts, your key variables. Then evaluates theories, concepts, and models. Okay, that's a theoretical framework, and it tells you what your research will contribute. Next is search model example. A simple search model example is study hours is independent variable, and the dependent variable on study hours is your grades. What grades are you coming? Your grade depends on your study hours, how much hours you are studying. Let's take example of a moderator. IQ level is the moderator in your relationship between study hours and A plus grades. Then moderator comes into the model. Its chapter completed. For example, your independent variable is study hours and your independent variable is A plus grades. But in this relationship, chapters, how much chapters you will complete will be part of your mediator. We move to our step number 11, which is research methodology. First part of research methodology is research design. Research design are quantitative research, which includes data like financial performance. Then is qualitative research, which includes human behavior and case studies. Then comes descriptive research, which describes problems in detail. Then comes basic research, which tells you about which helps you in gaining general knowledge, such as employee motivation level. Then another research design is applied research, which is totally based on scientific knowledge and experiments. Then there is exploratory research, which explores your variables, your problems, and its prime example is literature review. Then there is explanatory research, which explains a research problem, or it explains a causal relationship between your variables, such as your university thesis. So we will continue research methodology. Then comes the sampling, which is process of selecting units. Then comes population, which is specifically related to a group such as population of China or employees working in an organization. Then comes your sample, which is small part or portion from your population. So next is our sampling method, which comes in your research methodology. First is probability sampling, which is used for random selection. Okay, you can use any sampling method. It depends on your research structure, your research topic, your research question, research problem. So if any sampling method suits these 4 or 5 things, then you can use it. There is no issue. Second sampling method is sampling technique, which is simple random sampling, which is used for simply selecting data on sample based. Then comes your stratified random sampling, which is a sampling done in subgroup forms, such as each employee has equal chance. Then there is cluster sampling, which is done by dividing people into 2 groups, such as males and females. Then there is systematic sampling, like interval, total population, or sample, or I should say, the systematic sampling is the interval sampling. Okay, it's done in interval phases. Okay, it's calculated by total population divided by sample of your study. Then comes non-probability sampling, which is used for non-random selection of your sample. Then there comes convenience sampling, a sampling method which is used when data is easily available, such as shopping mall survey. Then there is judgmental sampling, which is based totally on your own judgment or by yes or no questions. Snowball sampling, it is hard to find, such as AIDS victims or any disease victims or shelterless people. Then there is last one is quota sampling, which is according to a preset standard, a quota is decided. Then from that quota, the sample of the study is selected. Then comes the data collection. There are 2 types: primary and secondary. Okay, primary is the first-hand data. Okay, primary also includes your observation, questionnaires, employee survey, customer survey. Okay, these all are examples of primary data collection. Then there comes secondary research. Secondary research is, as its name tells, it uses second-hand data which is already published, such as your annual reports. Okay, can be data taken from websites, published websites, from government agencies, from research agencies. Okay, these all comes in secondary research data. Then comes your data measurements, in which you mention your variable, their items, their sources from where you have picked them. It includes your variable name, number of items, source, and then comes your data analysis. Data analysis, you tell about your techniques, such as the data analysis software, such as SPSS, eViews, or SAT, whichever software you are using, you have to mention in your data analysis with proper logical reasoning. Then comes your data analysis techniques. Select those techniques Okay, you have to select those techniques which suits your research model, your research problem, which will help you in achieving your research objectives. Then data analysis techniques includes the frequency. In this data analysis technique, you use to find the frequency of your respondents. Okay, then comes your descriptive statistics, in which you find mean, mode, medium, and standard deviation of the data you have collected. Then comes your liability. In liability, you find you want to know the data you have collected is liable for your research or not. Okay. Then comes your correlation. In correlation, you see the relationship between your independent and dependent variable is positive or negative, or how weak or how strong it is. Then there is regression analysis. It is used to know the strength of your research model. Then comes your mediation analysis, which helps you to mediate the relationship of your mediator variable. Then comes at last the moderation analysis, which helps you in moderating helps you in analyzing your moderator variables relationship between your independent and dependent variable. Step number 12 is results. In this step, we run our results after we have done our data collection for our research paper. So let's see which results come under in your research papers. Let's see. The first test case which we run for result is frequency, which is run on demographic variables of your study such as gender, income, working experience, employer status, marital status, education. These all come under your demographics, and these are studied in frequency test. Then comes your descriptive statistics. Sorry for the spelling mistakes. Then the descriptive statistics shows your mean and standard deviation of your variables. Then comes your liability. It shows that how much your data is liable to use for your research. Then comes the correlation. It shows the variables relationship with each other. The variables can be your independent and dependent variables. Then comes your regression analysis. It shows the strength of your model, and it is used to do your hypothesis testing. Then if you have a mediator, then you will use mediation analysis to see the mediation role of the mediator in your research model in your independent and dependent variable relationship. Plus you can also use mediation analysis tools. If you don't know about the tools, read any research book, you will find them easily. Then there is moderation analysis, which is used to see the moderation role in the research model, and you can also use moderation tools, which are so many. Okay, if you don't know about tools if you don't know moderation tools, then you can easily read from any book. Then comes our step number 13, which is discussion. After we have done our introduction part, literature review part, methodology part, we have done our data collection, we have run our results in SPSS or any data analysis software. Then comes part of discussing those results. So let's see what we do in this step. You write purpose of your research paper. Number 2, you write research objectives which you have achieved in this research paper. Then the results. Then you discuss the results with the past researches and see your results are different from them or your results are same. If your results are different from them, then this will be your finding of your research paper. So then you conclude your findings which you have found it after discussing your results and comparing with past researches. Then comes a recommendation. In recommendation, you give recommendation to your future researchers about your study, how they can use your study and make it new. Then comes your step number 14, references. Very important. You should be pretty sure about your reference style which you will be using. You will be using SPSS referencing style, or you will be using Harvard referencing style, Chicago referencing style, or MLA referencing style. Okay, you should be pretty sure which referencing style you should be using. If you are not pretty sure, then you can take help from your base paper or from the format given to you by your research journal. Okay, next we will go. Next is we have just mentioned you the reference styles, APA style, ML styles. You can also find references or APA style references, or ML referencing style, or Chicago referencing style, or Harvard referencing style from Google Scholar. You just have to go open the Google Scholar, type the search paper whose reference you want, search it. Then it will show you the research paper. What you have to do then, go the left side down of that article, there you inverted commas, then click on that. It will show you inside. When you click on that, it will open the box in which all referencing style fonts will be given to you, like APA, ML style, and you can easily find them from there. If you don't know how to generate APA style citations or references, if you don't know how to find references from Google Scholar, then there is nothing to worry about. I have already made a video on it, and I will give it link into the description box. So next is referencing management software. Most famously used is EndNote. You can use EndNote as well. There are more software as well, like Mendeley, ReferenceWork. There are so many. You can use any one of them. Like this I mentioned, ReferenceWork. Then comes the 15 appendix. Appendix is the last, or I can say is your part in which comes in your end part of your research paper. So in appendix you mentioned your supplementary data such as questionnaire, tables, figures, and model diagram. Then comes your abstract, which is step number 16. Basically abstract is step 16 is your abstract. So abstract basically gives a summary of your article. It tells the purpose of your study, the variables you have used, the methodology which have you used, the findings of your study, the limitations of your study, keywords, the important words of your study, the variables of the study. All are come in your abstract. So abstract shows all these things which I just mentioned. Next point comes in is that abstract is your first heading of your article. Okay, it comes at the start of your search paper, but it's written at the end. Then you have concluded your study, then you will start writing your abstract at the start. Okay, then comes your the word limit of abstract is maximum 200 to 50 words. Ideal abstract word limit. Don't increase that word limit or decrease. Okay, try to write maximum to 50 words. There is no issue, or write between 200 to 50 words. Then comes things which come in abstract is purpose of your study, research problem, research objectives, methodology, and findings of your study. Plus most important, the keywords, which are your variables of your study. So if you want to find such examples, a simple tip for you is that go to Google Scholar, type any title topic, you will find tons of search paper examples from there. So that's it for today. I tried my level best to explain how you can write a search paper. Plus I shared some easy steps to help you in writing your search paper easily. So if you learned from this video, then do like it. If you haven't learned anything from this video, then do like it. There is no issue. If you haven't subscribed my channel, then please subscribe it and press the bell icon to get notification of my latest videos, and don't forget to like and share this video. Thanks for watching.